8 true horror stories that will haunt you and your dreams for weeks. Well, let's find out. Shall we? I wonder if they're true stories, though.
Prepare to be shocked as we delve into the darkest corners of history to uncover 8 upsetting true stories that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the past.
Well, is that true?
These incidents are the stuff of nightmares, and the worst part is, they actually happened.
This is really
As always,
terrifying.
hit those lights, sit back, and enjoy.
This man is dramatic ass voice. It's good though.
The Bhopal disaster.
Bhopal?
Most of us are aware of the Chernobyl incident in 1986, when a nuclear power plant accident
gotta watch that
caused
show, too.
radioactive material to contaminate not only the immediate vicinity, but areas thousands of miles away.
You say it's still toxic over
It
there.
was and still is the worst disaster in the history of nuclear power generation.
It's the
However,
main
just 2
reason why
years
nobody want to
earlier,
use it no
another
more.
lesser-known catastrophe occurred.
Even though
in
apparently it's like the
city of
best
Bhopal
form of
in India.
energy.
It began on the night of December 2nd,
And the safest.
1984.
It's just that when
as the
it isn't
incident
safe,
of
it's
Bhopal
catastrophic.
stopped. Around 45 tons of methyl isocyanate gas escaped from an insecticide plant was owned by the Indian subsidiary of the American firm Union Carbide Corporation. The gas, which is deadly to humans, drifted silently over the densely populated neighborhood, killing thousands of people, many of whom died in their sleep, while
That would
others
suck.
succumbed to the effects of the gas in the following days and weeks.
But I mean, if you're sleeping and you don't even notice
It's
it,
estimated that between 15,000
It's probably
and
just a
20,000
nightmare.
people lost their lives, while more than 500,000 were exposed to the toxic gas. The immediate effects included severe respiratory problems, eye irritation, and even blindness. The leak left a lasting impact on the survivors and the environment, and many people who were exposed to the gas continue to suffer from chronic health issues to this day that include respiratory problems, neurological disorders, and birth defects in their children.
damn.
The contaminated site has also led to soil and water pollution.
Jeez, they got this
affecting
video
the
though. Look
local
how
ecosystem and the
how
health
nasty
of
that
nearby
is.
communities.
so
In the
much.
aftermath of
I don't
the
even know if
tragedy,
that's the toxic
governments around
water,
the
if that's
world
just shit water.
implemented stricter safety standards and regulations to prevent similar incidents. The lives of the Indian community were completely shattered by the incident, and to add insult to injury, many of the families were only offered a few $100s in compensation.
Thanks, bro.
Our heart goes out to all of those who were, and still are, being affected by one of the worst industrial accidents in history that much of the world has never heard about.
Now we have, thanks to you. Now people could support it too if they
The Agent Orange
like, donate to the
program.
cause. Oh, Agent
The
Orange, dude,
Agent
that shit
Orange
is.
program remains a dark and controversial chapter in history.
That was
and
like
serves as a
biochemical
reminder of the
warfare.
cruelty of war and the importance of understanding the long-term effects of decisions made during conflicts.
People get born
Agent
with all
Orange
kinds
is
of
a
shit.
powerful herbicide used by the United States military during the Vietnam War. The program, which took place from 1961 to 1971, aimed to defoliate the dense jungles of Vietnam, to expose enemy hiding spots and disrupt their food supply.
Fiat Lux.
However, the consequences of this program were far more devastating than anticipated. Agent Orange was a 50-50 mix of 2 herbicides, 2,4-D and 2,4,5-T. A combination
I've never used
that
this
created a
pinchwhacker,
highly
by the
toxic
way.
substance called dioxin, which is known to cause severe health problems and birth defects.
Hopefully I can beat this fool
The name
finally.
Agent Orange comes from the orange striped barrels in which the mixture was stored. The US
Is that where
military
it comes
sprayed
from?
approximately 20 million gallons of the substance over 4.5 million acres of land in Vietnam. That led to the destruction of forests, crops and wildlife, as well as long-lasting health issues for both Vietnamese civilians and American soldiers.
Yeah, everybody got hit with that shit.
Subsequent studies have linked dioxin exposure to various cancers, neurological disorders, and birth defects, and many of the exposed to it continue to suffer from the effects of Agent Orange to this day. Although efforts have been made by the US government to compensate and recognize the suffering of those affected by Agent Orange, many Vietnamese civilians still struggle to receive recognition and support for the health issues they still face.
Fuck me.
The tragic true story of Tilikum, SeaWorld's killer whale. In 1983, a 2-year-old killer whale was captured near Iceland. Following his capture, he was kept in a cement holding tank for nearly a year. The
Hold up, I
tank
gotta turn
was so
this up.
small, all he could do was swim around in circles. Finally, he was shipped to the rundown Sealand of the Pacific Public Aquarium in
How the hell
British
do I-
Columbia, Canada, where he was given the name Tilikum. He lived with two
Throw
other
it.
female captive whales, called Nootka and Haida. However, he failed to bond with the females and often bullied and chased them, although he did eventually mate with one of them, and he sired the first of 13 offspring, making him the most successful breeding whale in captivity.
How do I... Oh, R, duh.
Tilikum was forced to perform 8 times a day for the public,
Okay.
and the stress and exhaustion of this was making him ill and agitated. During his time in Canada, tragedy struck when a young female
I saw
orca
these were
trainer
good.
slipped and fell into the tank of killer whales. The 3 whales pounced on her, continually dragging her under the water until she was dead. Shortly after the incident, Sealand closed down. In 1992, Tilikum was sold to SeaWorld Orlando, where he took part in the world-famous shows and became a key part of the park's breeding program. Then in 1999,
Hold up.
tragedy struck, and again Tilikum was
Oh,
involved.
I think I remember
The body
this.
of a 27-year-old man was found floating in the orca pool. It is believed the young man had somehow found his way into the pool after breaking into the park. Investigations revealed the man had been bitten several times by Tilikum, although it could not be proved that he actually killed him. By now, although Tilikum was relatively young, he was 22 feet and 6 inches long, weighing 12,300 pounds, and was the largest orca in captivity. His size meant he was becoming increasingly difficult to manage. The stress of captivity was also taking its toll.
That's
causing
their fault for
Tilikum
taking
to
them in,
display
bro.
abnormal behavior, and he started chewing on metal gates and the concrete
Wow.
sides of his tank.
Poor guy.
So much so that his teeth were almost completely worn down. He also had a collapsed dorsal fin, a sign that he was unhealthy and stressed.
It
Tilikum's
sucks.
aggression towards humans continued, and in 2010, Dawn Branchiao, his devoted trainer, became his next victim when he dragged her into the pool by her ponytail in front of a horrified
Oh.
audience. He proceeded to scalp and dismember her, ripping her arms off and breaking several bones in her body before
Oh,
drowning her.
shit.
Dawn's death was a huge shock to everyone, especially to her fellow trainers, as she had an amazing relationship with Tilikum.
That's fucked up,
She
dude.
loved him dearly, and they believed he loved her.
And he
Following
just
Dawn's
snapped one day,
tragic
bro.
death, Tilikum was kept in a tiny enclosure with limited ability to swim or communicate with anyone.
That's fucked up,
It was
bro.
reported that he spent his
Like,
days
punished him.
floating listlessly in the water, a behaviour never before seen in an orca. However, just a year later, Tilikum was returned to performing, again putting lives at risk, and causing further stress to him. He died in 2017 after suffering a bacterial infection. He had spent 33 years in captivity and likely hated every minute of it. I think we'll all agree that this majestic and magnificent creature should never have been captured in the first place.
Fuck,
The
bro.
horror of early Victorian surgery.
The spear sucks. I saw on a video that
It
it was
seems hard
supposed
to
to be
appreciate
good.
modern day life at the moment, with worries about nuclear wars, changing climate, and other highly charged issues. However, if we take a step back in time, it is easier to appreciate what we have now compared to people in Victorian times, especially when it comes to healthcare. Medical care in the Victorian era was a horrifying, gruesome affair, and the
Damn.
chances of surviving surgery were so low that patients had to pay up front in case they died, and surgeons didn't get their
That's
fees.
fucked up, dude.
Hygiene was
I mean, I
practically
guess,
non-existent,
guaranteed
with
money.
vermin and bugs living alongside patients in medical wards, and surgeons proudly using the same
Oh,
stained
fuck.
tools and blood-soaked aprons in operation after operation, and they seldom washed their hands or tools before surgery. Hospitals also employed bug catchers, who were sometimes paid more than doctors, to rid beds of lice and other critters. But perhaps most horrifying of all was there was no anesthetic. Patients were awake through the entire procedure,
Dude,
howled or tied
lobotomies and
down
shit.
as they screamed and struggled against the knife.
They didn't have
The lack of
painkillers.
anesthesia made every operation sheer torture, with not
shit.
only patients going out of their minds during operations, but also surgeons who were traumatized by the pain they were inflicting.
Oh yeah, they probably
Many
feel
of the
fucked
surgeons
up.
were unskilled, and some even illiterate, and they were more in demand for their speed rather than their skill. as speed made a difference in terms of pain and survival. One of the more respected surgeons in 19th century London was Robert Liston, who it was said could take apart a man's leg in 30 seconds. During one of his most infamous operations, he moved so fast that he accidentally cut off his assistant's fingers and later died of gangrene.
He died from that?
If all that wasn't bad enough, surgery was often a public affair, and in an age long before movie and television, many would attend surgeries for the entertainment value of seeing the struggle between life and death, like some sort of real-life horror film.
For real, that's weird. It's kind of like the public hangings that used to happen.
Alexander the Great. Alexander III,
Public execution, you know?
better known as Alexander the Great, was the king of the ancient Greek kingdom of Macedon. He took to the throne in 336 BC, aged just 20, and during his 13-year reign, he created one of the largest empires of the ancient world, stretching from Greece to northwestern India. Alexander met his untimely death in 323 BC, aged just 32, after he fell ill and died after 12 days of excruciating suffering.
Damn.
It's long been debated what his cause of death was, with theories ranging from malaria, typhoid, and alcohol poisoning, to assassination by one of his rivals.
Oh shit.
According to historical accounts, Alexander's body didn't begin to show signs of decomposition for a full 6 days after his death. And in recent years, and with the hindsight of modern medicine, the mystery about his unexpected death may have finally been solved, and his passing may have been grislier than historians had ever imagined. It is suggested that Alexander may have suffered from the neurological disorder Guillain-Barré syndrome, a rare but serious autoimmune disorder in which the immune system attacks healthy cells in the nervous system. It explains the odd symptoms Alexander is suffering from, and also explains why no immediate signs of decomposition were noted after he was declared dead, as it's possible he was still alive. The condition would have rendered him paralyzed and his breathing less visible. Because in ancient times doctors relied on the presence or absence of breath rather than a pulse to determine whether a patient was alive or dead. He was likely declared dead up to 6 days before his actual demise. So poor Alexander could have been alive during the preparations for his funeral and burial, that included being laid in a gold anthropoid sarcophagus that was filled with honey, which was then placed in a gold casket, and is now being considered that his death may be the most famous case of pseudo-thanosis, or false diagnosis of death ever recorded.
Damn, son. RIP. That's like what happened with
Holodomor, killing
Romeo.
by hunger.
Oh no, Juliet.
We're all aware of the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the subsequent bloody war that is still being fought.
Faked her death.
However, it's not the first time the Ukrainian people
I've heard of people getting buried alive though. They come back and then they got like claw marks inside their
when Ukraine was still part
coffin.
of the USSR. Russia's leader, Joseph Stalin, forced starvation on the Ukrainian people, a dark chapter in history that is often overlooked. Stalin started implementing policies that would have tragic consequences. One of these policies was the forced collectivization of agriculture. This meant that individual farms were combined into large state-controlled collective farms. The goal was to increase agricultural output and support the rapid industrialization of the Soviet Union. However, the Ukrainian farmers, who were fiercely independent, resisted giving up their land and livelihood to the state. And as a result of this resistance, Stalin made things worse by increasing grain quotas, meaning more and more Ukrainian-grown grain had to be handed over to the state, leaving little for the farmers themselves.
You're taking all that money, run your pockets.
A man-made famine swept through Ukraine, causing widespread suffering and death. The exact number of people who died during Holodomor is still debated, but estimates range from 3 to 7 million.
Damn!
The famine was so severe that people resorted to unthinkable acts, such as cannibalism,
eating horses. Look how skinny that poor thing is.
The Soviet government denied the existence of the famine, and even went as far to export grain to other countries, while their own people starved.
What the fuck?
It wasn't until the 1980s that the truth about this incident began to emerge. Today it's recognized as a genocide by many countries, and efforts are being made to ensure that this tragedy is not forgotten. Memorials have been erected in Ukraine and around the world to honor the victims of this tragic event,
That's
as
fucked
a
up,
reminder
dude.
of the devastating consequences of twisted political power.
How could you? Well, I mean, they're fucking eating healthy, bro. They're just not feeding their people.
The Texarkana Phantom. This chilling story of the Texarkana Phantom begins in Texarkana, a small town which straddles the border between Texas and Arkansas.
Oh,
In the
real?
spring of 1964,
I never heard of
4
that.
vicious crimes occurred in less than 3 months.
Texarkana, that's funny.
3
It's
were
just a
brutal
mix of
attacks
both.
on young couples parked in Lover's Lane, and the 4th was the senseless shooting of a middle-aged couple in their rural farmhouse on the Arkansas side. 3 of the victims survived with serious injuries, but 5 were shot dead. The traumatized survivors could offer the police little to go on, and fear swept through the town, forcing women and children to flee their homes and check into hotels when their husbands were away on business. People who never owned guns slept with loaded weapons on their bedside cabinets and made makeshift beds for their children to sleep beside them. Others rigged up crude security systems attaching pots and pans to wire that was strung around their
Damn,
property.
booby trapping their whole cribs.
The
Imagine
elusive
having to
killer
sleep on the
dubbed
edge like
the
that.
Texarkana Phantom evaded police despite a massive search, and he remained at large, leaving behind few clues and no concrete leads. Over the years, several theories have emerged about the identity of the Phantom.
Maybe he was a cop.
Some believe he was a local man with a grudge against young couples, while others speculate that he was a transient who moved on after the murders stopped. To this day, the true identity of the Phantom remains a mystery, and is the #1 unsolved murder case in Texas history.
Damn.
The Ravenous Beast of Gévaudan.
What the
Lastly, we'll take a look at the chilling tale of the Beast of Gévaudan.
hell? He
a
said true
mysterious
stories, didn't he?
creature that terrorized the French countryside in the 18th century. The horror took place between 1764 and 1767 in the remote region of Gévaudan, now modern-day Lisieux, in south-central France.
How do you know if this is
At
true,
a
though?
time
Are there
when
bone
superstition and
records or
fear of
something?
the unknown very much influenced the minds of its residents. The first reported attack occurred in June 1764,
That's like a
when a
wolf,
young woman
though.
was tending to her cattle. She claimed that a large wolf-like creature lunged at her, but her cattle managed to drive it away. This was just the beginning. Over the next 3 years, the beast claimed over 100 victims, mostly women and children, leaving the people of Gévaudan in a state of panic. Witnesses described the beast as a massive, wolf-like creature with reddish fur, a wide chest, and a long, thick tail.
I wonder what it is
Its
in
head
real
was
life.
said to be somewhat like a dog, but with large dark eyes and a mouthful of razor-sharp teeth. The beast was known for its incredible speed, agility, and strength, making it a formidable predator. The wounds it inflicted on its victims were mostly to the head and limbs, with at least 16 victims decapitated. As the death toll continued to rise, the people of Gévaudan pleaded for help, and King Louis XV sent professional hunters and even his own personal gun bearer to capture or kill the beast. However, despite their efforts, the creature continued to evade capture. Many theories have been proposed about the true identity of the Beast of Gévaudan. Some believe it was a pack of wolves, while others suggest it was a hyena or even a lion that had escaped from captivity. Some even believe that it was a werewolf or a supernatural creature. However, without any genetic or forensic evidence, the Beast of Gévaudan is likely to forever remain a mystery. That is, unless it strikes again in the future. So that's it for this video.
I think
we
they're
hope you
creepy,
enjoyed
though.
these 8 real-life horror stories. We'll be sure to feature more of these on the channel, so stay tuned. Thanks for watching,
Yeesh.
and as always, we'll see you in the next video.
Damn, how you prove that last one real, though? You tell me, huh?